Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. Manchester City had a great opportunity to win the title at home if they could beat rivals Manchester United. Would they be able to do that? How would they do that? Would Mourinho be able to stop their free-flowing attack? How would United approach the game? Would they defend deep? Would they press from the front? And for City, how would they react following their midweek loss to Liverpool? Don't worry, here at the interviews, we've got you covered. So on this edition of the interviews, we're going to break down Manchester City against Manchester United. So Manchester City against Manchester United. City with a great opportunity to win the title at home against their league rivals and avenge their loss against Liverpool in midweek. For United, they're looking to bounce back from their loss against City at Old Trafford and prove that they belong to be in the same conversation with their rivals. Mourinho against Pep. We look at the board, we got United in the red, we got City in the blue, City in a 4-3-3. They're resting a bunch of players. De Bruyne didn't start, Aguero didn't start, Gabriel Jesus didn't start, Kyle Walker didn't start. Up front, it's Bernardo Silva, Sané and Sterling on the flanks, and in midfield, it was Silva, Gundogan ahead of Fernandinho. No real surprises from United. Lukaku started up front. They had Alexis and they had Lingard on the flanks. And in midfield, they had Matic, they had Herrera, they had Pogba. What did United try to do? Well, initially they tried to press from the front and there was a bit of man marking. They wanted Matic to step to Fernandinho. They wanted Herrera to man mark Silva and they wanted Pogba to man mark Gundogan. When they tried to press from the front, obviously there was a bit of a disadvantage. So what would happen was that they press, Lukaku would have the two markers, they'd have Lingard press Delph, they'd have Sanchez move to Danilo, and really City didn't have much of an issue because their fullbacks didn't really get forward, they weren't really instructed to get forward. Perhaps they were afraid of United's counter-attacking threat. Danilo did get forward on one occasion to deliver a dangerous cross into the box that was cleared, but besides that, United tried to press them in early, kind of like how Liverpool did. They were patient with it. What happened though was that sometimes they get caught and then this would happen. They'd press and it would more so happen this way where they'd have one there, and Fabian Delph would be the spare man. We saw on two occasions where Kompany played it out to him with fairly ease, and then we saw Ederson do the same. So United eventually stopped playing from the front and trying to press from the front, and they dropped off into more of a 4-5-1, trying to protect space in midfield and ensure that no space was bogged down between the lines. At the start of the game, City didn't really pose a threat and United were comfortable in that sense because with Bernardo up front, they didn't have an attacking threat going forward in the sense where they couldn't lob balls into him. Bernardo's more of a midfielder. He did on occasions drop into midfield to ensure that United's man marking didn't really happen, but Sané wasn't breaking and beyond, Sterling wasn't breaking and beyond, so that didn't really work out well. What did end up changing was that there was one chance in around the 19th or the 20-minute mark where Raheem Sterling ended up picking up the ball because Pogba was dispossessed after City swarmed him, and then Alexis slipped and he was able to find Silva in space over there, teed up a shot, and then there was a switch that happened. Bernardo moved to the right, Sterling moved in the center, and there was a huge change in how City attacked. It also started with the fact that United's man marking really didn't work out as well as they had planned. Fernandinho with Matic, Pogba was probably the best player in that sense, even though he had a terrible first half, was losing balls in transition, was getting pressed, his passing was poor, marking his player off the ball wasn't that great either, but he didn't really have much threat to deal with Gundogan. It was these two, Matic and Fernandinho, and Silva and Herrera. Silva often drifted off into the flanks over here to try and get away from Herrera, but in general Herrera was poor and on several occasions he lost Silva just drifting into this space right here in the channel, and Silva ended up creating a lot of chances. We look at the 4th minute, for example, and it's Fernandinho that is free, and what happens that Sané drops deep, Valencia follows him, Herrera's not wary of the run, Silva runs across, picks up the pass, delivers a cross into the box. Sterling should get it all alone, but Ashley Young tracked the run, made a diving, desperate last-ditch header to clear the ball away. There were shouts for a penalty. there wasn't a handball there, so that was pivotal. But what happened was that Silva was drifting away from his marker, Herrera, and that was pivotal. And the fact that Fernandinho was getting free. See, United had an issue here where they didn't want Matic to really press forward because then that allowed space in between the lines. So Matic would pick his moments, and at times he would sit off. And when he sat off, that's when United were in big trouble. The also difference between Sterling and Bernardo was that Sterling was dropping deep, and he has the pace and the dribbling ability to run past players and provide that penetration. And that's where United also encountered some issues. We saw Bailly try to track him, and when we look at City's best chances in the first half, it stems from this play. It's also again Silva picking up the ball in the build-up to City's opener, where he picks up the ball, evades a few challenges, finds Silva, who then finds Sané, who then eventually earns the corner kick. Valencia should do better to clear the ball. You see Company rise above, Smalling bullying him, gets the opener, 1-0. And then we look at the second goal, not much to really do with the theme of the game, but it's Gundogan finding space in midfield off a poor David De Gea kick that falls to Sané, and it's Gundogan who plays the ball into Sterling. We see Herrera end the marker there, and he's able to just run into the box. No one marks him. Matic follows him. He turns him with ease and fires a shot past the keeper, 2-0. But when we get back to the general theme of the game, and we'll kind of get these guys back into their shape, it's just very sloppy from United, and the fact that they were really confused with how to cope with City when Sterling moved to the center. We look at the first opportunity that stems. It's Fernandinho in a deeper position, Matic a bit deeper as well, and now Pogba's left with Gundogan and Fernandinho. He doesn't move to Fernandinho because of that, and what happens is that Silva moves off of Herrera, who also falls asleep, so then Bailly has to push forward. The ball's played into Silva. Matic falls asleep. Smalling thinks that Sterling has him. Silva plays in Sterling. Sterling should score. He doesn't. Shoots the shot over the net. That was a great opportunity, but it goes to show that without picking up Fernandinho, they had a few issues. The second opportunity stemmed from this side of the pitch, and what happened here was that we'll get Matic back there, get the midfield back into position, is that this time, Matic doesn't step to Fernandinho. Sterling drops deep, Bailly follows him, and then we see this come into effect, where he runs off Herrera again, through ball played in, Bailly follows, Smalling has to recover, Bailly loses Sterling again, Silva plays him in, fires shot over the net. Again, who is picking up who? Why isn't Herrera marking Silva? Why is he losing him? And then Sterling just able to pull Bailly out and then drive in. And then the final opportunity, we'll try and get these guys back into shape because they keep leaving shape. It's Gundogan this time, and it's Fernandinho a bit deeper. Clips the ball into Gundogan. Pogba loses him, Gundogan free on goal, nods effort at De Gea. Again, Fernandinho being able to pick up the ball, no press on him, creates an opportunity. City could have been up a few goals here. Don't get the job done. Poor finishing around the box. And you have to think if De Bruyne, Aguero, or Jesus are in those positions, they probably score. City pay for not starting their full team here, looking ahead to Liverpool at 2-0. You still think they're on to win the title, but things change. And it wasn't even a tactical change, really. And that's the real thing that will worry Pep Guardiola. There was nothing really that changed in terms of how United or City played. It was just more intensity, United pushing men forward, and City falling asleep from a defensive aspect. When we push these guys back and look at the build-up to the goals, it's just simple Paul Pogba being able to drift into the box. The first goal, Alexis, some great patient possession. Alexis finds Herrera in the box, chests it down. Pogba runs past his marker and is able to tap the ball into the net. The second goal is a really great indicator to what happened to City. We look at them without the ball. Their pressing kind of dipped because of their energy levels. They're more of a 4-5-1 without the ball. And when we look at it, this is their midfield here. Bernardo is also in midfield. Pogba is able to pick up the ball. He plays it wide to Alexis. Bernardo then shifts out to that space. But when he does that, he doesn't get close to Alexis. Alexis is able to cut in onto his right foot. But look, Pogba plays the pass here, and he's able to drive Lukaku did move wide. He's able to drive all the way into the box to get the cross. No one picks him up. Nod his effort past Ederson. 2-2. City's pressing declined. They weren't closing down markers as fast as they were in the first half. In the first half, it was man there, man there, man there. They were closing down spaces quickly. Here, the pressing declined, and they just switched off in terms of marking. They were lazy. It was lethargic. You look at the goal to win the game, a free kick from Alexis Sanchez. Otamendi just switches off. You have Smalling able to break into the box freely and guide his effort past Ederson. Nothing the keeper could do about that either. He was left in no man's land. City then went to go make changes. They brought on De Bruyne. They brought on Aguero. They brought on Jesus. They moved to more of a 4-4-2. They had the wide players out wide. They had De Bruyne dropping deep to pick up the ball. United sat deeper in a 4-5-1, and they really just closed out the game. There was no space for Jesus and Aguero to pick up the ball. When you look at their best chances, it's Sané getting the ball onto the left, delivering a cross into the box. Aguero should score. He's unmarked. David De Gea makes a great save. World-class goalkeeper, arguably their best player, saves them again. Then you look at the corner kick, deflected into Sterling, hits off his knee, hits off the post, De Gea clears it. But besides that, City didn't really create any chances in the second half. They switched off. United were able to close out the game. No one was able to stop Pogba's runs. They were a bit more adventurous because they had to chase the game. And when you look at it, they didn't really change much tactically. Yes, you had Lukaku kind of drifting out wide to create space for the runners. Yes, you had Lingard and Alexis pressing from the front, but in terms of the overall shape of the side, nothing really changed. City fell asleep. They didn't mark Pogba's runs into the box. They didn't track Smalling. They paid the price for it. And when you look at City after a great start, United kind of settled in. They had to push forward, and they dropped a bit deeper, and they were able to cope with the movement of Sterling. The system change with Jesus and Aguero up front benefited them, and they were worthy winners based on their second half execution. But let me know what you guys think. Meet me in the comments below. Don't forget I upload videos every day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And that was your daily dose of the InnerViews.